This is the Citarum River in Java, Indonesia. For centuries, this waterway meandered through the mountains, serving as a pristine, life-giving natural cradle for the island. But look closer at the surface today. Fishermen navigate wooden boats that are completely trapped by a suffocating, solid layer of plastic debris. Every year, 200,000 tons of that plastic waste is dumped directly into the sea. Beneath the floating plastic, an overwhelming chemical smog saturates the water. It coats the surface in white foam and leaves the surrounding air suffocating. That chemical cocktail is a daily reality for the 3,000 villagers living along these banks. Children relying on local well water suffer from severe skin irritation, recurring bacterial infections, and chronic illnesses that return the moment their medication stops. The Citarum has ceased to function as a natural waterway. It operates strictly as an unregulated, open-air industrial waste bin, maintained entirely at the expense of the marginalized communities living right beside it. Look at this rack of mass-produced fast fashion. When you find a brightly colored synthetic shirt selling for less than the price of your morning coffee, the global math doesn't seem to add up. When the price tag on the left drops that low, it's not because manufacturing suddenly became free. Instead, a massive hidden cost shoots up on the right side of the scale, shifting the true financial burden away from the consumer. That rock-bottom retail price is a carefully maintained illusion. The rest of the bill for that cheap garment is being paid right now, halfway across the globe, through a staggering environmental crisis. This image captures the sprawling interior of just one textile facility, giving you a sense of the overwhelming scale. There are over 500 massive factories like this lining the riverbanks, collectively churning out millions of meters of fabric every single month. Creating the cheap polyester fabrics we buy requires treating, dyeing, and washing raw synthetic threads in thousands of liters of highly concentrated, harsh chemicals. Rather than treating that resulting wastewater, investigators found many factory owners rely on discrete concrete pipelines hidden deep in the foliage, violently purging yellow and black chemical sludge into the river. Bypassing the mandated water treatment process is a deliberate, systemic choice. It allows these factories to maximize their production speed and drastically minimize their overhead costs, entirely evading environmental accountability. And the damage actively spreads past the riverbed. Notice how close these vibrant green agricultural terraces sit to the water. That toxic, frothy river water is siphoned off and used directly to irrigate the region's primary crop, rice. When scientists put samples from those exact fields through laboratory equipment like this, the data is alarming. Heavy metals are aggressively accumulating in the soil, yielding rice harvests that contain lead levels 116 times higher than the legal consumption standard. Biologists testing hair samples from local children confirmed the severe human toll. The children are enduring extreme heavy metal toxicity, a condition that attacks the central nervous system and threatens them with permanent intellectual and cognitive damage. This network map traces the direct line from the riverbank to the retail shelf. The specific facilities discharging lead and sulfate appear on the documented subcontractor lists of global fashion giants like Gap, Uniqlo, and H&M. The cognitive and physical development of an entire generation of Indonesian children is being sacrificed, and it's happening specifically to secure a continuous, highly profitable flow of cheap, disposable clothing to the global north. If you're wondering why the government doesn't step in, the towering skyline of Jakarta illustrates the broader economic pressure. Local authorities are paralyzed, fully aware that enforcing strict environmental standards means foreign textile investors will immediately pack up and take their wealth elsewhere. The regional textile lobby embraces this cynical reality. Their representatives openly acknowledge the severe pollution, even casually predicting widespread genetic mutations in the local population within 50 years, while shrugging and claiming they have no alternative. At the top of the chain, global retail brands dodge accountability entirely. They rely on corporate PR teams, vague sustainability pledges, and hollow eco-labels. Yet they continue to issue massive purchase orders to heavily polluting subcontractors operating along the river. A meticulously maintained power imbalance ensures massive profits continue, while the Citarum remains a wasteland. It is a scenario where every entity involved, from factory owners to global retailers, refuses to take responsibility. The tragic irony is that clean production is completely possible right now. There is an eco-friendly factory in the same region utilizing a rigorous 12-stage treatment system, filtering and re-oxygenating their wastewater until it actually meets safe drinking standards. This chart highlights the actual economic barrier to that clean technology. Producing fabric responsibly, without dumping toxins, only raises the final cost of the material by roughly 10%. Despite that incredibly thin margin, global brands continually reject the higher price point. By demanding the absolute lowest cost per unit, they force the cleanest factories to struggle, while the cheapest, most destructive operators dominate the market. As long as massive fashion retailers wield all the purchasing power and refuse to pay a marginal premium for clean water, the business model of fast fashion will intrinsically rely on environmental devastation and human suffering.